Hello and welcome to today's daily dose of LOL Esports content, where I'm going to go over the sneak peek for tomorrow's games in the LEC as the four major regions begin their play. In the top left corner of this board, you see a record of 644 and 299 for 68.3%. That's roughly my record from last year, missing some summer 2023 playoff games. My goal is 70% with my predictions. I did not meet that last year, but if you still want to become a member and know my predictions for games, that is in the members only tier, there will be a video that goes out after this one that predicts who I think will win these games. Now, sneak peek, LEC, G2, ninth in my power rankings. Those came out last night versus BDS. This series occurred in season finals last year. Not the finals of the finals, but during that whole tournament. G2 would win 3-1. 9 of the 10 players from that series are starting tomorrow, the only difference being Ice in place of Crowny. Because of that, we're going to highlight the mid lane matchup because Hansama led the way in damage for G2 in that one, but there's a different 80 carry across from him. Caps 18, 14, 22, 24% of damage in the win, and Nuke would go 24, 12, and 10 for 31% of damage in the loss. If you recall, Nuke really had a good summer, really stepped up, and we'll see if he can continue that this year. After that, we have Rogue and SK. If you're not, with the news, Rogue has returned. Koi and Rogue joined forces, and then they separated. And Rogue is now that team from 2022. And because of that, Rogue has not played SK since 2022. In summer of week 7 of that year, 2 of the 10 players from that game, best of 1, are still on the team today. That's Larson and Comp for Rogue. All of SK's players are swapped out, and the 3 others for Rogue are no longer there. Comp went 0-1-1 in the loss, 23% of damage. GiantX actually was the star for SK on a Shyvana, going 3-1-1, 35% of damage in the win. I'm sure some people remember the Shyvana game. Carmine Corp and Fnatic. Fnatic 18th in the power rankings. Obviously, these two teams have not played each other because KC are making their debut. The matchup that I'm highlighting that we've seen last year was Bow and Upset when they were on Vitality versus Razork and Noah. There are obviously a lot of changes around those players. Even Fnatic, they have June now instead of Trimby. Bow and Upset in the loss went 1-9-6 for just under 40% of Vitality's damage. Razork and Noah 10-3-16 over 46% of damage for Fnatic. Vitality and GiantX. Vitality 24th in the power rankings. GiantX is a new team. Formerly XL. Giants have bought into XL slot and they're splitting it, so it's a different team. It's not necessarily a rebrand because Giants are a squad that exists. Like they have their own people, right? So now these people are combining. They've never played because this is a new collaboration. But last summer, we did see Photon on Vitality against XL in Odo Omne. There has not been I guess there's no other matchup between those two that remains the same. Maybe Douglas played in that one. Probably should have looked at that a little closer. That's on me, but it's too late now. Photon went 2-3-1, 23% of damage in the loss on a Gwen. Odo Omne 6-1-4, 31% of damage in the win on a Kennen. Very anti-Odo in my opinion. Usually Odo is on a weak side facilitator. In that case, he was the carry. Lastly, Mad Lions Koi against Team Heretics. Heretics 19th in the power rankings. Because Mad now have Koi in their not necessarily just in their name, but I believe beyond that in the organization, it is a different look. Plus, Mad Lions really overhauled things, so frankly, it's a very different Mad Lions team. However, these two teams did play, Mad Lions of old did play in summer 2023 against Heretics, Elyoya. That's the only matchup we have because the other 4 players on Mad Lions are making their debuts in LEC. So there are no matchups against the Heretics players, except maybe you could find Supa versus Flacked. I'm sure that's a thing, but regardless. Elyoya went 3-5-4, 11% of damage in the loss on a Rek'Sai. Sure, we didn't see many Rek'Sais last year. And Yankos 8-1-9, 19% of damage on a Wukong. So LEC is starting us off after last year. I think LEC was the last major region to begin. It's going to be an interesting weekend as we have a totally different rift. I am curious if we see some drastic changes to the commonplace stuff that we've noticed. Like I was talking about it today in the Discord, and I mentioned it, and someone said that some Treats might have been mentioning it in his stream, that the lanes as we know it and roles as we know it are in flux. Theoretically, you could see a situation where you don't want your bot lane on the bottom side of the rift anymore. You don't want your duo, on that side because of red side being able to go back and behind and gank behind the duo, right? So now, do you move that to top or mid? You can move it to mid. Maybe you put in a global support. A Galio was my suggestion. Now, all of a sudden, the Galio, which isn't super strong, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you have a global ultimate and you can hit both lanes. You could gank either lane, really, theoretically. And it's going to change some things. Who knows? Maybe move them topside if they're safer up there. I think the game is going to, we might see some significant changes in the way the game is played. And I don't know if it'll be this weekend or not, but I do think it's something that we should watch. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.